On behalf of Indira Gandhi National Open University, we welcome you to this interactive video lecture session. Today's topic is illustrative examples of second law of thermodynamics. This is the 20th module of the course Thermodynamics and its application. Dear friends, we have already discussed the first law of thermodynamics in detail. We have discussed the second law of thermodynamics in detail. For both the laws, we have derived the expressions for the energy equations, conservation of energy equations, the conservation of mass equations for both the laws. So today we will discuss some very interesting problem so that you will understand both the laws very accurately. After listening to this video lecture, you will be able to understand the concept of second law of thermodynamics. You will be able to apply the laws of thermodynamics, and you will also be able to solve the numerical related to the second law of thermodynamics. Dear friends, you know that the first law of thermodynamics gives the conservations of energy equations. Basically, it gives a very important property, that is energy. But for the second law of thermodynamics, it gives the direction of the process. We have discussed in detail the two important statements, that is Kelvin-Planck statement and the Clausius statement, and there we have understood the theories with regard to the first law of thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics. Today we are going to discuss some very interesting numericals so that you can apply what you have learned in theory classes in solving these numericals. Let us start with the exercise 1. Nitrogen gas is compressed in a reversible process in a cylinder from 100 kilopascal at 20 degree centigrade to 500 kilopascal. During the compression process, the relation between pressure and volume is PV to the power 1.3 equal to constant. Calculate the work and heat transfer per kg and the change in entropy during this process. Now let us see how we can solve the problem. First of all, when you face any problem, just note down the data given for that particular problem. After that, you try to analyze how to proceed for solving for a particular problem. Now let us see how we can solve this problem. See, for this problem, the R, that is the gas constant for nitrogen, is given, that is 0.2968 kilojoule per kgK, and CV, that is specific heat at constant volume, that is given as 0.7448 kilojoule per kgK. Now the work done for the polytropic process that we know very well, that is equal to P1V1 minus P2V2 whole divided by N minus 1, since nitrogen gas is considered as ideal gas. So PV is equal to RT. So we can write the expression P1V1 minus P2V2 whole divided by N minus 1 is equal to R within bracket T1 minus T2 whole divided by N minus 1. But for this case, we know very well that T2 can be expressed as T1 within bracket P2 by P1 whole to the power n minus 1 by n. Here n is given, that is 1.3, P2 is given 500 kilopascal, P1 is given as 100 kilopascal, and the temperature is given as 20 degrees centigrade for T1. So 20 degree centigrade you have to convert in Kelvin scale, that comes out to be 293.15 Kelvin. So just put the values, you will get the value for T2, that is the final temperature, is equal to 425 K. Now the work done from state 1 to state 2 is equal to, that expression is already given, that is R within bracket T1 minus T2 whole divided by n minus 1. So put the values of T1, T2, n and R and find out the value of W12, and here one very interesting result has come in minus, that is negative value. So negative of work means the work done onto the system. So negative sign shows it is a compression process. So we have calculated the work done for this system. For this problem, the value of R is equal to 0.2968 kilojoule per kgK and CV is also given. So we can very well calculate the specific heat at constant pressure, that is equal to specific heat at constant volume plus R. So that the value of Cp will comes out to be 1.0416 kilojoule per kgK. So Q12, that is heat supply from state 1 to state 2 is equal to Cp within bracket T2 minus T1 plus W12. This is the expressions which we get from the first law of thermodynamics, that is the energy equations for thermodynamics first law. So put the value of Cp, T2, T1 are given, W12 just we have calculated. So Q12 we will get minus 32.248 kilojoule per kg. So here also you are getting the negative value, that means heat is removed during the process. So now let us calculate the change in entropy, that is S1 minus S2. So that is equal to Cp ln T2 by T1 minus R ln P2 by P1. All the values in the right hand side of this equation is known. Just put the value and calculate change in entropy, that is minus 0.0908 kilojoule per kgK. Now let us start the exercise 2. The compressor of a large gas turbine receives air at 95 kilopascal 20 degrees centigrade from the surroundings and delivers it at 380 kilopascal at 180 degree centigrade with a velocity of 120 meter per second. The power input to the compressor is 3000 kilowatt. Determine the mass flow rate of air assuming triples suitable as specific heat values for air. But for air we know that specific heat at constant pressure is equal to 1.0000. So this is a given value of the specific heat at constant pressure, that is 1.00 kilojoule per kg. Now let us see how we can solve this problem. Dear friends, for solving any thermodynamic numericals, you must see that how we can proceed, whether we should apply the first law of energy equations for the control volume or the flow process or for the control mass. So let us see for this problem how we can proceed for solving this very interesting numerical. So assuming steady flow energy equations, that is m dot h1 is equal to m dot h2 plus v2 square by 2 plus q dot. So we can write that w, that m dot within bracket h1 minus h2 minus v2 square by 2, that is equal to w dot. So m dot is equal to W dot whole divided by Cp within bracket T1 minus T2, because H1 minus H2 is equal to Cp within bracket T1 minus T2, and minus V2 square by 2 it is there. So just put the values given in the right hand side of this equation, because W dot is given as 3000 kilowatt and Cp is given as 1, T1 and T2 are also given, and the V2 is given. But dear students, you must be very careful for putting the value of V2. You have to divide by 1000, that is 120 square by 2 within bracket, that is 1000. So 1000 you have to divide, because V2 square by 2, if you put only the value of V2, that will comes out to be joule, but you have to convert into kilojoule. So finally you are getting the rate of mass flow is equal to 17.94 kilojoule per second. So this problem we have solved by writing the energy flow equations for the first law of thermodynamics. Now the next problem is 10 kg of water at 45 degrees centigrade is heated at constant pressure of 10 bar until it becomes superheated vapor at 300 degrees centigrade. Find the change in volume, enthalpy, internal energy and entropy. This is also a very interesting problem, that 100 kg of water at 45 degrees centigrade is heated at a constant pressure of 10 bar until it becomes superheated vapor at 300 degrees centigrade. So it is a constant pressure, but initial temperature was 45 degrees centigrade and final temperature is 300 degrees centigrade. So for this problem, let us see how we can proceed. So let us see what is given, the data, that is mass is given as 10 kg, T1 is given as 45 degrees centigrade and T2 is 300 degrees centigrade, and pressure is constant, that is 10 bar, and initially state 1 it was liquid state, and finally obviously it will be at superheated vapor as per the given conditions for this numerical. So from saturated steam table for pressure 10 bar and temperature 300 degrees centigrade, we can get the values for V1, Vf, H1, Af, HF and SL, SF, everything from the steam table. So you see that we have got the value of V1, that is specific volume at the initial stage, that is 0.001010 meter cube per kg, and H1, that is 188.42 kilojoule per kg. This obviously we are getting from the steam table at the initial conditions, and for entropy at the initial conditions is given as 0.6386 kilojoule per kgk, and UF is equal to, that is HF minus P Vf. This formula we can get from the Gibbs equations, that comes out to be 180.42 minus 10 into 100 into 0.00110. So UF we have got 187.4 kilojoule per kg. Now from the superheated table for the pressure 10 bar and having temperature 300 degrees centigrade, that V2 is given as 0.2579 meter cube per kg. H2 we have got 3051.15 kilojoule per kg. H2, that is the entropy at the final stage for 10 bar and 300 degrees centigrade, we have got, that is 7.1228 kilojoule per kgk. Now U2, that is H2 minus P V2. So P V2 and H2 are known. We can calculate U2, that is the internal energy at state 2. So now final volume minus initial volume is equal to M within bracket V2 minus V1. V2 minus V1, we know V1, we know V2. So change in volume we have got 2.5689 meter cube, and change in enthalpy, that is H2 minus H1 is equal to small m within bracket H2 minus H1. Everything is known on the right hand side for H2 minus H1, that comes out to be 28.627. Now the final entropy minus initial entropy is equal to mass into that small S2, that is entropy per unit mass, minus S1, that comes out to be 64.842 kilojoule per kg. In the same way, we can calculate the change in internal energy, that is equal to m into, within bracket, U2 minus U1, all values are there. M is given as 10, U2, U1 are known. We can calculate change in internal energy is equal to 26.066 kilojoule. Now we are discussing a very interesting problem, that is exercise 4. 1 kg of ice melts at constant atmospheric pressure and at 0 degree centigrade to form liquid water. If the latent heat of fusion of ice is 333.3 kilojoule per kg, calculate the entropy change during this process. So this is also very interesting problem with regard to the second law of thermodynamics for calculating the change in entropy. So the values given as the melting point, that is 0 degree centigrade, that is 273.15 Kelvin. Latent heat of fusion, that is L, is given as 333.3 kilojoule per kg. So S water minus S ice is equal to L fusion divided by T fusion. So L fusion is given as 333.3 kilojoule per kg and T fusion is given as 273.15. So just put the value of those on the right hand side. Just calculate the change in entropy, that is 1.220 kilojoule per kg. Next problem is also a very interesting problem. A rigid tank contains 10 kg of water at 90 degrees centigrade. If 8 kg of water is in the liquid form and the rest in the vapor form, determine the pressure in the tank and the volume of the tank. So this is a very interesting problem. Let us see how we can proceed. So for the solution, as I already give you the guidance how to solve any problem on thermodynamics, first of all you have to write down the data given for that particular problem. So here it is given as the temperature is given 90 degrees centigrade, but pressure in the tank is equal to P saturated at 90 degrees centigrade. That you can get from the steam table. So from saturated water, the steam temperature tables at 90 degrees centigrade, we get the P saturated, that is 0.7014 bar, and Vf is given as 0.001036 meter cube per kg, and Vg, that is the saturated vapor, that is given as 2.361 meter cube per kg. Now the total volume is equal to the total volume of the liquid plus the volume of the vapor. So MF, that is the mass of fluid, is given as 8 kg and the specific volume of the fluid is given, that is 0.001036 plus mg. How you can calculate mg? Because out of 10 kg the liquid water is given as 8 kg, so the vapor will be 2 kg. So mg is equal to 2, and Vg, that is the specific volume for the vapor at that particular temperature, is given as 2.361 meter cube per kg. Just put the values in that particular equation, so we can get the final volume, that is 4.7303 meter cube. Now let us see for how to solve the exercise 6. It is also a very interesting problem. A rigid vessel having a volume of 5 meter cube contains 0.05 meter cube of saturated liquid water and the rest of the volume as saturated vapor at 0.1 megapascal. Heat is transferred until the vessel is filled with dry saturated vapor. Determine the heat transfer and work done during the process. This is also a very interesting problem, that a rigid vessel having volume of 5 meter cube contains 0.05 meter cube of saturated liquid water and the rest of the volume as saturated vapor. So, dear learners, if out of 5 meter cube the volume occupied by the water is 0.05 meter cube, the rest of the volume, that is 4.95 meter cube, will be occupied by saturated vapor and the pressure is given. Let us see how we can solve the problem, that is to calculate the heat transfer and work done during the process. When the phase changes occurs, there is no work done, so W12 is equal to 0. Now here you see that total volume is 5 meter cube, so Vf means the volume occupied by the water is given as 0.05 meter cube, and Vg, that is the volume occupied by the saturated vapor, is V minus Vf, that is 4.95 meter cube. Original pressure was 0.1 megapascal, that is 10 to the power 5 pascal, that is equivalent to 1 bar. So from the steam table, at pressure P is equal to 0.1 megapascal or 1 bar, the specific volume for the fluid is given as 0.001043 meter cube per kg and the specific volume for the gas is also given as 1.694 meter cube per kg. Now let us see how we can proceed for this problem. So MF, that is the mass of water, MF is equal to, that is Vf by small vf, that comes out to be 47.94 kg, and mg, that is the mass of vapor, that is Vg by small vg, that comes out to be 2.922 kg. So the initial quality is equal to mg divided by mg plus mf. Mg is given as 2.922 kg and mf is given as 47.94 kg. Just put the values and you can calculate the dryness fraction or the quality at the initial stage, that comes out to be 0.0574. Now just write down the expressions for H1 is equal to HF plus X HFG. So HFG is nothing but the difference between Vg minus Vf. So from the steam table you will get the value of HFG for that particular temperature for dry saturated steam. So in this case you see H1 is equal to HF plus X HFG. All the values are given on the right hand side. Just put the value and calculate H1, that comes out to be 547.10 kilojoule per kg. Now if you want to calculate the internal energy at the initial stage E1, so we know very well that E1 is equal to H minus PV, and H1 we have already calculated, that is 547.10 kilojoule per kg. Put the value of that, you know the pressure P and the specific volume at the initial stage, that is equal to 5 divided by 2.92 plus 47.94. So it comes out to be for U1 equal to 537.17 kilojoule per kg. Now the final state is dry saturated vapor. So Ug is equal to Hg minus PVg. So Hg is known from the steam table, that is 26.75.4. minus pressure is given as 100 bar multiplied 1.694. So you can calculate the value of U2. It comes out to be 2506 kilojoule per kg. So in this case, the heat added is equal to M within bracket change in internal energy, that is U2 minus U1. You have got the value of U1, you have got the value of U2, you know the mass, and put the value in that equations and find out the value of Q12, that is equal to 100,138.66 kilojoule. Now this is a very interesting problem with regard to the second law of thermodynamics. As shown in figure 1, a heat engine operating between 500 Kelvin and 350 Kelvin at a place where surrounding temperature is 300 Kelvin. According to the data provided in the figure, the available energy of Q1 is 250 kilojoule and its unavailable part is 750 kilojoule. Do you agree with this? If not, what is the available and unavailable energy of Q1? So here you see there is a source whose temperature is 500 Kelvin. There is a sink, that is low temperature reservoir, that is given as 350 Kelvin, and the work done by the system is 250 kilojoule, and the heat input for this engine is Q1 equal to 1000 kilojoule. Now you know very well how to calculate the available energy, and the total energy minus available energy is equal to the unavailable part. Let us see how we can solve this numerical. The available energy is defined as that part of energy which is converted to work by a reversible engine operating between the given high temperature reservoir and the low temperature reservoir at the surrounding temperature. This is the procedure how to calculate the available energy. A reversible heat engine operating between 500 Kelvin and 300 Kelvin has an efficiency of 0.40 because the reversible engine efficiency is equal to 1 minus T2 divided by T1. For this case, T2 is given as 300 Kelvin and T1 is given as 500. So 1 minus 300 by 500. So that comes out to be 0.4. Thus, the available energy of Q1 is equal to 400 kilojoule. How you can calculate 400 kilojoule? Because net heat input is 1000, efficiency is 0.40, 1000 divided by 1000 multiplied by 0.40 is equal to 400 kilojoule. So this is the available energy out of 100 kilojoule heat input, and unavailable energy will be 1000 minus 400, that is 600 kilojoule. So the engine shown in figure 1 converts 1000 kilojoule to 250 kilojoule operating between 500 Kelvin and 350 Kelvin. Hence 250 kilojoule is not the available energy. Available energy as per the calculations should be 400 kilojoule, but it is only the actual work produced by the engine under given conditions. So dear learners, you see that we have discussed several numerical, and you have realized that for solving any problem on thermodynamics is not at all a difficult task. First and foremost duty for solving any problem is to write down the data given for that particular problem. After that, you try to see which you have to find out. If R is given, specific heat at constant volume is given, you know very well that the difference between the specific heat at constant pressure and constant specific heat at constant volume is equal to R. Cp minus Cv is equal to R. If any two are given, you can calculate the third one. You can see whether for that particular problem you have to write down the energy equations for control mass or the energy equations for the first law of thermodynamics for the flow process. And if it is related to the second law of thermodynamics, you can calculate how to calculate the change in entropy for a particular process. So, dear students, whatever you have discussed, I request you to solve all the problems by yourself, and of course, if there is any difficulty, my guidance is given in the lecture session, and by that time we can wind up today. But before winding the lecture session, let us summarize what we have discussed in today's lecture session. We have discussed the concept of second law of thermodynamics, we have discussed the laws of thermodynamics, and we have discussed how to solve the numerical related to second law of thermodynamics. Thank you very much for today's lecture session.